Hello and welcome to Thinking Outside the Pod, episode 63.
63. Let's see. Let me see if I understand this math thing.
Let's list every
two more than 61. Oh, geez.
Would it be every? Yeah, it's infinity. Is it factors? That's like multiplication. I think 63 is prime, right?
Let me see. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on if you're using just integers, but if you want to use real numbers, then yes, you can divide it. It depends on
Anything is
yes,
technically
it
divisible.
is prime, but if just basic integers, yes, it is prime. I just had my final exam on friggin' discrete math on Friday, so I'm like, and that's actually yes, these common denominators, factorization, that kind of stuff. That was actually stuff we did cover in that class. So, is
there a word for like addition factors? I guess not, because it's
addition
it's
factors?
just like common sense. It's just like 60 plus 3, 59
well,
plus 4.
That's basically the idea of factorization is you break it down into like every number can be broken down into prime numbers.
Yeah.
So you have like 2 to the third time, plus 5 to the third or whatever. You could break it down to something like that.
Okay.
Is an idea of every number can be represented in that way of.
If one of these like recent podcasts was like someone's first podcast listening, they'd think we're like a math podcast.
I know. Well,
we always start off with some.
Well, I mean, we do talk about a lot of nerd stuff, so I mean
we're not far off. I mean, if you like math, you probably like the stuff we talk about.
I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Unless you're just like only math.
Because we are not fans of math. I'll leave it. No, I don't know. Math is okay. I've just never,
Yeah, I've
had to take them. Yeah, I've had to take those classes, so I know all this math stuff. Do I understand it all? No. Yeah. But I know it.
We're in the communication industry, so we're like, goodbye math. Well, you're you're inching back into it.
Yeah, I'm working towards computer science. So I mean, unfortunately, I have to do more math classes. I mean, luckily it's only like 2 or 3, I think, and then it's computer science from there. But.
Yeah, I had said it before, but I had started architecture, and that needed a lot more math class, like geometry and all that, physics and all that kind of.
No, I mean, I started engineering, and that's all math and science. Yeah. So, I mean, I know a lot more stuff than I should.
Then when I switched to communication, they were like, you needed none of that. So I was like, oh, crap, my electives were math now. So, whatever.
Yep. No,
so,
I mean,
I know more than I should in what industry I am. But, who cares? Knowledge is power.
Sure, if you want to say that.
I can. A mugger.
Like, yes, I can use AutoCAD. Too bad we don't use AutoCAD ever.
Dang it! Like a mugger is coming at me. I'm just like, I know logarithms. They're like, so what? Stab. Dang it! You stabbed me 5 times.
Maybe the one time where they're like, I need that for my test, teach me. You're like, okay, don't stab me and I'll teach you. You're like, maybe.
That's like a plot of a terrible movie. The bond of crime.
Thinking outside the podcast movie.
Yep. Look for it on
It'll be at 4 years from now whenever we finally get around to doing it.
It's just us. It's just us two acting out every single part, just with bad makeup on.
Oh, jeez.
Just the power of
math.
Put
like Disturbed on our forehead and stuff like that.
Yes.
And everybody be like,
we have to release it right before the Suicide Squad movie, just in case they do use that for something. We're like, hey, they took it from us.
Well, thinking of that, they did actually release another image with, I think, of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, the Suicide Squad promotional image.
Yeah, because they did another, because it was an official image, right? It wasn't.
Yeah, no, yeah. There's some onset photos of her. Margot Robbie, she was in Wolf of Wall Street. If you haven't seen it, that's the first movie I've seen her in. I think she did like soap operas before or something, or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But her as Harley Quinn, they kind of went like not comic book, like whenever I think of Harley Quinn, I think of like the '90s Batman cartoon.
Yeah, the cartoon, sure. With like the yellow, like the ponytails or whatever the hell, like pigtails, whatever the hell, the braids on the sides of the head.
And like with the red and black or red and white or black and white.
Yeah, like the
one suit
thing. Yeah, like the kind of like I guess the circus performer costume, I suppose.
But she's more punkish. She has like tattoos.
Well, I mean that's kind of when you look at it, at least for the first promotional image, that's what they did with the Joker as well. So I mean it fit with the style of the first promotional image.
Yeah. And there were some rumors that maybe he's like a tattoo artist or she's a tattoo artist or something like that. Yeah,
because in the picture she was putting the tattoos on him.
Okay, no, I didn't see that.
You did? Oh, maybe I'm looking. Maybe I saw a different one then, because literally the image that I saw looked like it was from, like, you saw the Joker image, and then it looked like they took like another angle of that, and it was Harley Quinn
doing it. Oh, I did not. I have not seen that one. I guess that's more recent. The one I saw was like the team of the Suicide Squad.
Oh no!
And it had like all these different people. Then it had like Harley Quinn in the middle, and then it had like Will Smith because he's going to be in it as Deadshot or something like that. Bullseye, not Bullseye. It'd be Deadshot, I guess. And then like Killer Croc at the end, this big guy, and he's all.
Oh, okay. Because the one that I saw was pretty much, it was very similar to the first promotional image, and it was just a different angle of it, and it was Harley Quinn
doing it. Okay. Well, I need to check that.
Okay, so I will attempt to show Jimmy the image if I can remember where I found it.
It's internet. I can just type in like Harley Quinn, new Harley Quinn photo or something like that, and it'll show it.
So we'll post something. Yeah, we'll try to in the video or on the website.
I'll for sure get it on the description on the podcast description page. That's easy. I'll find them. I don't know if that's copyright. Who cares?
It's. If they come after us, it's like, well, what do you want? We're not making money off of this.
Yeah,
we're just doing this for fun.
We'll take it down. Sorry.
Okay, fine. Just tell us. We'll take it down. We don't mind.
If we can't post we're gonna post the pictures. It's not gonna be a problem. But we'll put the links if not, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the one I saw was not that one. So okay.
Okay. So you saw like the entire team.
What did you think of that?
From what I remember, I mean.
It is just an image. We don't know.
I think they're going to like almost like emo-ish, you know. I think it looks kind of weird. It's still, like, because I thought like one of the more recent adaptations of like Harley Quinn that was really awesome was like the Batman Arkham Asylum, like the video games.
Okay.
I thought that their recent adaptations, it pretty much looked like a more recent version of like the 90s cartoons. Like the Joker he looked just like he popped out of the darn cartoon. I mean, Harley Quinn, I think they may have sexed her up a little bit too much, but still, I looked at her and went, that's Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
That's the Harley Quinn that I remember from, like the old cartoons and stuff. Because, that was actually one thing they did really well with those games. Was they did have it, like, spot on. Plus they also had, like, they had, like, Mark Hamill doing the voice of the Joker. Yeah. So, they had, like, what I think is the definitive, at least, like, the more cartoony voice.
We've said that before in the other Joker. Or in the other podcast. That's what I hear. I hear that voice as my Joker.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, like, the best voice that they have.
Yeah. But I could see emo. I could see the promotional shot that I saw. Not all the characters were like that. They're all kind of. Some looked more serious. Like.
See, I think that'd be weird. I think if you're gonna go with that emo style, either go all the way or don't do it at all. Don't do like half and half, because then that looks really weird.
It depends on how the movie is and what the plot's gonna be. Because if they're just starting, I don't know Suicide Squad. I don't really know the origin backstory of them. Yeah. If they're just a loose group of villains, or if they're coming together against a common good guy, I don't know. I have no
idea. Who knows?
I assume since this is the first movie, that's gonna be kind of.
I'll have to do some explaining. because they'll want to get the people who like us who don't know what Suicide Squad is.
There are a bunch of characters. Like in that one promotional image that I saw. It didn't have the Joker in it. It didn't have Jared Leto in it, but it had all the rest of the Suicide Squad. I guess that's going to be in the movie, most likely. But it had like a dozen people.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of backstory to get to, but some they'll probably just glaze over, or some might be mysterious.
Sure.
Just like show up.
Like they may go, okay, this is kind of real quick. This is who this guy is. Now he's part of the team or whatever.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could because what was that movie like Smoking Aces? If you ever saw that, it's about assassins going after this. Guy who's an informant or something like that, and they really didn't go into the backstories of all the assassins in it. They kind of just maybe did like one of those freeze frames and like showed like this is the person's name, this is like their speciality.
Sure, if you could do something like that, and that if you made it more comic booky, it totally worked.
Scott Pilgrim-ish.
Yeah, because what would be really cool is that, like, they could have like the character, I don't know, bust in through a door or something like that, and then it goes to like almost like a comic book drawing of it. Like half of the screen is the comic book, and then the other half is like, okay, this is his name, this is.
Or they do like
that'd be really cool.
It depends on how they play it.
Well, I don't know how the rest of the style of the movie is.
Exactly.
And also if they want to make it more kind of fun and comic booky, that would be perfect.
Or like in some movies, you used to have like the animated backstory, like Scott Pilgrim. I guess it's all Scott Pilgrim.
Because
that if they go that silly, but I don't know if they are.
See, I love Scott Pilgrim.
Me too.
I thought that was probably the one movie that I saw that was, you know, like kind of like the comic book graphic novel related, and they actually like they made as close to a real life adaptation of like a comic book.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything that close. I was like, that actually looked pretty much. I mean, like they nailed it. Like they just did.
I never read
really cool
the graphic novel or saw. I've seen it, but I've never read it. But it had that style, and it played into like the video game. Like they had the health bars and like the urine bars or whatever it was. Whenever he was going to the bathroom, it showed it like going down.
I mean, they made it fun. They made it stupid, and they made it. It looked like a real life video game. I mean, it was really cool.
And that was Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright was the director of that. He would have been doing Ant-Man, but he backed out. So
really?
I was sad about that. But yeah, Scott Pilgrim, I loved it. So I don't know. I would think that they're going to be, especially if they're having like the Joker and like Killer Croc being like this.
Well, I can't envision them doing,
too silly.
I think, because I think it'd be more of a dark, since it's all the bad guys, it'd probably be more on the darker side.
Yeah, but, I mean, they'll probably have some.
But I think there's room for more of a dark comedy.
I would assume that's what this is going to be. I don't think it'll be. I can't see them taking them too seriously. I don't think.
I mean, like we've said, we've never read the comic books, so I mean, I have no idea if like the comic books are like the most serious things ever. You know, we don't know. I mean, it's interesting. I'm curious, but
we're basing this off of maybe skimming a Wikipedia article and seeing images.
That's about it.
That's all we
have. So I mean, we're guessing, and and previous knowledge of comic book movies, and they all seem to be more on the serious side. That's what I'm.
Especially like the DC one.
Like I would love to see just like a really just like stupid ass one, just like crazy. Like we're just gonna have fun with this.
Yeah, and I don't know. Well, yeah.
'Cause I guess like Deadpool. I mean, I'm not too familiar with Deadpool, but like I know his character's more of like that insane, but it's supposed to be like really sarcastic and like stupid funny and that kind of stuff.
I played the Deadpool video game, and I guess because I mean basing the character off of that character, it's going to be the same, but he has like split personalities. He has one that's like rational and the one that's just like crazy. So they're playing off of that, and Ryan Reynolds can play sarcastic. I mean, that's his like bread and butter is sarcastic.
So now you're talking more recent one, right? The video game.
Yeah,
the one that came out with like what 2-3 years ago or something like that.
Recent. Yeah,
so Nolan North was I think voicing it.
Was it? Okay.
That's a voice actor. He's in like.
You've mentioned him before.
He's in like everything. He did like Nathan Drake and Uncharted. He's kind of like the I'm in like every freaking video game guy.
Yeah, probably whenever you brought him up before on the podcast, there was a voice actor movie, like a documentary, about all these different voice actors and like going through like. Porky the Pig and Donald Duck and all that kind of.
Nolan North was probably in there because he's been in a lot of things recently.
Does he do anything with Futurama?
I don't remember.
I don't know. He might be more video. I don't know. But
from what
the guy in Futurama who does like Bender.
Oh, okay, that's a different guy.
Different guy. But I think they talked about video games in there as well. So I'll see if I can find the title of that voice act. It's pretty interesting. Just to see how. Far they can stretch their voices.
Oh sure.
Like, and it's like the person who does like Porky Pig, like he's the only one really that can do it well.
Yeah.
So he has like the best job security ever. Like he's Porky Pig. If you want him, you need that voice.
See, the one that I'm more fascinated in. I mean, I guess it's way more of a bigger deal, but like in Japan, like I guess Seiyu, I think is how you pronounce it, and that's their job is literally like voice acting and stuff. I mean, and they do more of the voice acting for like your animated stuff and like the anime and stuff like that. Like that's a way bigger business over there than it is here.
Yeah,
but I mean those guys are impressive. I mean you ever hear it? I mean, because I mean like unfortunately like here with like the American dubs and stuff like that, you can really tell who it is. I mean with in Japan, I mean you can still kind of tell like they have different inflections and stuff like that. You can kind of hear who's who, but it just to me it seems like since it's way bigger business, there's more money over there, so I mean you're gonna get more talent. So I guess it's more equivalent to like a Disney movie here, where you get like more of like I guess they're better at like just like overall general acting. Like they're not just like voice actors. They seem like they're more of actual actors as opposed to I guess I'm not saying voice acting is not legitimate acting. I guess there's a difference. with acting, like on stage, in front of a camera, as opposed to voice acting. They're two very completely different things.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
I mean, that's why when you look at it, I mean, like I hate to say it, but like Disney movies, I mean, when they hire like the actors who get paid millions of dollars, I mean, you can tell there's difference between just somebody who literally just does voice acting and an actual actor.
Yeah,
I mean, there's slight differences. I mean, it's definitely something that I've noticed over the years. There's a different type of quality. I mean, it depends on also what type of animated movie you're making.
Yeah, like the Pixar movies, like the Toy Story is that comes to mind. So you like the main Buzz and Woody characters are big name, like what is it, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen.
Tim Allen. Yeah.
So you get those people that don't disguise their voice at all, but you could have like 5 of the other characters be voiced by one person.
Yeah.
Like that's their job. They have to change their voices for each different character.
And you'd kind of notice that, after a while, you'd kind of notice that it's all the same person.
Yeah, or I mean, you may not notice in the movie, but if you look back and if you hear them all together at once, or one after another, you're like, oh, I kind of hear that same, like the person who does Fry on Futurama.
Yeah.
Like that's his normal voice, but you can hear whenever he's doing another voice, you hear that kind of nasally inflection on his other characters that he does in that. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. So I'll find that link, and it should be easy. There's probably not too many voice acting documentaries.
I don't know.
But okay, so let's see. We've
already gone way off what we originally decided to talk about.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yes, Happy Mother's Day was originally what we planned to start off with, but then we just kind of randomly went off on a tangent.
Yeah, the Suicide Squad. But
so yeah, we're taping this on Sunday, which is Mother's Day. So hopefully all these people who are listening to this yesterday.
Yeah.
And you didn't at least say Happy Mother's Day to your mom yesterday.
Do it.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
So I mean, just
try to be like, I guess some white lies you can tell. I bought it offline, so the delivery date was late or something. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully you at least gave your mom a hug yesterday or something.
Yeah.
Or I guess today here, but yesterday when you guys hear this.
Yeah. Well, give your moms hugs and tell them you love them every day.
Sure.
But being Mother's Day, I don't know. I guess you can't go back in time. I don't know. Do something.
I mean, if you can, great. Please give us a time machine. That'd be fun. We'll have some fun with that.
Time machine. That'd be so awesome, I think. I would love to have a time machine.
Would it be awesome? Yes. But I'd be too afraid to mess around with anything.
Well,
that'd be the one where it's like, oh, crap, I played a prank on somebody, and now all of a sudden I have a lobster arm. It's like, great. That didn't go right.
I think the bulk of I too would be afraid to go back and change things.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing I would do is go back in time and just sleep. Just catch up on sleep, and then being able
go find some corner
just
where
be
nobody's at.
Just party all night, and then just be I say I have to go to work on Monday morning.
Yeah.
Let's just say Monday at 8 o'clock I have to go. So Sunday night I just party up until 7:55, or even late. Say I just go late, I just party, and then I just sleep until whenever, and then I can and then I wake up and maybe I'm hungover or something, and then I just get better, then just go back in time, and then just
so you just keep redoing your day off over and over again. It's like never an infinite day off.
Exactly.
And then also it's you just kind of look, and also there's just 40 of you all in the house just goofing off. You're just like, well.
Yeah, that would be another thing.
You'd have to explain it the first time. You'd be like, all right, man, we're gonna keep doing this over and over again. You're gonna get a time machine. You're gonna come back, and then when you come back, there's gonna be 2 of us here already. So it's just gonna keep infinitely getting bigger. So we're just gonna invade the world. I mean, hey, there you go. There's how you invade the world. Is you just keep going back to the same day over and over again, then you have 1 million of you.
There's a theory that I don't know if it's proved at all, but they're saying that there's in the universe. There's everything is composed of atoms with electrons and whatnot. They think this one theory is that it's in the universe is comprised of just one electron that's traveling constantly back and forth through time.
Okay.
And so time right now is just it intersecting. I don't know it's just one electron time traveling. So it exists at every point in time, and many different places because it traveled through time.
Okay.
I'd
have to look it up. I mean, that sounds interesting.
I heard it in a show where the scientist guy was talking about it. It was like a comedy show, but they had a scientist guest on it.
Okay.
Who was kind of like the straight guy, and kind of any time he'd go into like a scientific explanation, they'd be like, "Oh, boring," or they just make fun of him. But
because I love like more of like the multi-universe theory and stuff like that. I love that. Like I guess we've probably talked about it several times before, but for those of you who are just tuning in and have never heard about it, the idea of the multi-universe theory is essentially like every choice you make creates a different reality. So you're like, even if it's just, what do I want to have today? Do I want peanut butter jelly or just a regular sandwich? You're like, there you go.
And then it created another reality where you didn't ask that
there's
question.
one where you had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. There's one where you had a ham sandwich. And then there's one where an asteroid freaking hits you. You know, something like that. Like there's an infinite possibilities of shit happening.
Yeah.
So the idea is like every time there's multiple universes where pretty much anything can happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's like quantum mechanics or something like that. Something like that.
Maybe.
Well, kind of. I guess not. But like quantum mechanics is like anything that's like with infinite amount of time, anything's possible. Like say you want to run through that wall.
Yeah, I mean,
with quantum mechanics, it's possible because maybe at some point your electrons got stretched and you.
Yeah, when you think of it, you're built up of little teeny tiny things. Yeah, technically you can run through the wall. It's just that you don't want to fuse with the wall. So
the probability is so low that would ever happen, but it's technically possible.
Like if you pushed your arm into a wall, eventually either you are going to fall apart or the wall's going to fall apart if you did it long enough. But you're not going to survive long enough for either of those to happen.
But that movie, Nicolas Cage movie, Next. I know I always bring it back to movies, but Next, he can see into the future.
Okay.
The thing is, the movie is he can see like 7 minutes into the future, but when he's around this girl, and I don't know if they explain it in the movie, he can see longer into the future. So he's like whenever it concerns that girl, so he's like searching for this girl in like this factory.
Okay.
And what he's doing, like the way they shot it is like every time like he can either go up these stairs or down this hall. So it just splits into two Nicolas Cages going down that wall.
Sure, you just do like two like ghosts of him or whatever. And and then goes, okay, that one I don't die.
And then exactly, and it's just different choices. So that's like the multiverse thing.
Sure.
Like one decision, you go up that hall or those stairs, and then you have a fork in the road. And you go either way.
Yeah.
That's 5 universes right there, or whatever it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, with video game equivalent of that, there's a lot of multi-universe in video games. I mean, like Legend of Zelda is technically like if you look at the official quote unquote Nintendo timeline or whatever. Why they actually made a timeline, I don't know. It's like they had to, but it's definitely multi-universe. It's like after Ocarina of Time, they're like, okay, there's a timeline where Link died. There's one where he didn't die. You know, it's like it goes one way. It's weird.
Yeah.
And like they just also recently with the more recent Pokemon, they actually like made it canon. And it's like, no, this is they added multi-universe theory. I mean, it was kind of funny because there's a little added story after the main game, and you're like, oh hey, they just said they didn't flat out say, hey, this is multi-universe, but if you actually paid attention to what the hell was going on, you're like, they just explained why we can have the remasters or whatever, and then they're different than the original ones because they just kind of said it's multi-universe.
Yeah,
like,
I mean it's one of those easy to write answers.
It was a cop out. Yeah, I mean I love the idea. I hope they run the hell with it because I mean I thought it was an excellent idea.
It opens it up for
because now
it's
anything. Like okay great, now we can make a new universe where it's like all the Pokemon games are in all the Pokemon are in one new area because it's like why the hell not? We can do whatever the hell we want to now.
It's a different universe.
We just say multi-universe. We could just be like screw it.
Yeah. Anytime they write themselves into a corner, or if they figure out this new thing, like a new thing with the technology that they couldn't have done before, they're like, all right, well, let's just do what we want.
Well, I mean, because
it's
a convenient excuse. Because I mean, like if you looked at it, I mean, it's like between the original games and the new ones, I mean, they had because they had the same Pokemon and stuff like that, but they had slightly different evolutions in the newer one, and they also had like the Mega Evolutions, which were not present. And I mean, that was kind of the idea of how they were explaining how it's like, well, why is there Mega Evolutions in this game when there wasn't in the original one? Because it's supposed to be the same area.
Yeah.
But it's like they're
like universe.
Multi-universe. Yeah. Done. And we're not in the same place that we were in the original.
Yeah, and as people that we know that it's a cop out, but it makes it interesting.
It works.
It's like, yes, thank you for giving us an explanation. Though, yes, it's not. creative, but it is creative.
It is, but it isn't. Yeah, I mean, it's
maybe just used a lot. I guess that's the thing, but it's used a lot because it's so versatile. It just makes it easy for them to say, that's a different universe, alternate reality, done.
Well, I mean, because it was one of, like, did they explicitly say that's how it is? No. But it's one of those. That's kind of the consensus among the fans. Is it's highly implied that's kind of the idea that they were going for. And I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you've played the Pokemon games, I mean, that's the best explanation for why it's like, okay, why are the remakes different than the originals?
And the new Star Trek movies, how they rebooted that. They wanted to make a reboot, but they did it in a way. They said, oh no, all that other stuff happened as well.
Just
but
this
is an alternate timeline. Something happened at some point, and it caused something to go back in time, and it just changed things.
Yeah.
So it's a convenient plot device.
Sure.
So very very where did we get to this? Mother's Day?
I know. Yeah. We somehow. Geez, we really are going off on a tangent today.
Yeah. Tangent. Sunday. I don't know.
I mean, that's. I think that's kind of just what we've been doing recently, fine. Anyway.
It's fine. So all right. So Mother's Day is we're recording this on Mother's Day. So
again, say Happy
Mother's Day.
Even though it's
late,
1 day late.
Better.
Hey,
do it.
Easier to beg for forgiveness than it is to beg for permission. I guess I don't know if that applies here.
We can just keep saying.
Sure,
phrases.
done. Just random quotes.
I can't think of one.
You know what? I know. I just really just derailed that.
Yeah.
I don't know why that came to mind.
I do like better to ask. Or what is it better to ask for forgiveness than permission?
That was the one.
There's another one that's like the opposite of that, but it's still a good phrase. It's like if you don't ask, the answer is no, or something like that. I'm like, so there's like
I guess
both commonplaces. I don't know.
All right, okay, random quotes. Okay.
Microchip your pets.
Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, we originally had this idea to try to segue. We're gonna make some sort of weird, like, oh hey, and as a gift for your mother, why don't you get yourself microchips so when you get lost and she can find you? I don't know.
We tried to do a contrived segue. We were like, let's just wing it.
And then we went way off topic and started talking about multi-universe.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason why we wanted to talk about that is it's an interesting concept. And recently there was a story about possibly making microchipping your pets mandatory, required.
Which I think nowadays, that's not a unreasonable thing.
I think it's fine.
If you just make it part of the adoption or whatever, the process, then it's fine.
And I've seen them on like humane societies and shelters on TV shows.
Yeah.
And they do that. Like whenever they do like the immunizations or the shots or whatever and the paperwork, they throw in the microchipping at no cost or included in the cost or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think it's great.
I think it's a very good idea nowadays.
Because, I mean, the old version is they have a collar with a little tag.
Yeah.
That collar could come off, like if you ever lose your pet or the dog runs away or something. Who knows what could happen? That collar could fall off or...
Yeah, because, I mean, it'll easily solve the dispute of if you have two dogs that look very similar, then it's like, well,
Mine's chipped.
I mean, there's, of course, different dogs have different personalities, but that's, in a court of law, that's, you have one person saying, well, that's my dog. And the other person's like, well, no, that's my dog.
Yeah.
They're like, no, that's totally Skippy,
Look at him.
And then they just go,
Skippy.
Here's a chip. And they go, no, that dog over there is Skippy.
And and it's the technology RFID.
Yeah.
I assume that's what.
I think so.
I think so. And it just shows the. Yeah. I guess it just shows the owner's name or something, or shows
probably a name and an address
or a code that corresponds to a database that shows that information.
I would guess probably it would be like on a server somewhere because I would think you'd want to be able to update it.
Yeah, like there's some.
So I mean, unless you can use a device to update the actual chip itself. So it'd be close to like the little chips and like amiibos or like the little toys and stuff like that that they have where you can update the data on it.
Yeah, write. It's readable and writable, stuff like that.
Yeah, you need a little device to access it. Yeah. But the issue with those though is those are the technology nowadays. It's super easy to hack those types of things. So,
yeah,
I mean, who's gonna hack your dog?
Yeah, other than to like erase it if they want to like steal the dog.
Yeah,
which is possible, but
but unlikely.
Yeah.
If somebody's gonna go through that much trouble, they would steal your dog anyway.
If they go through that,
if they're gonna try
that much trouble, they deserve to steal my dog.
I wouldn't say they deserve to, but they're gonna do it no matter what.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but that kind of story, and in the news, it kind of segued into human chipping.
Yeah.
Human microchipping, and I'm there. I can see why some people are afraid of it.
Yeah.
I understand
because we already have cameras looking at us. Now we have a freaking chip in us.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can understand that thought process.
I can understand, and maybe people are more afraid of it because they don't really understand it. They think microchip, and they're like, oh, they might go crazy and go like, oh, cyborgs, or they're going to control us, or something crazy like that.
It's not going to be.
At the very least, they'll think like they can track us.
Well, I mean, they can track us already. I mean, do you have a credit card? Yes.
Like,
yeah. You have a freaking cell phone.
This is where I am. Like
they are tracking you already. So if you're paranoid about that,
even without that, they can get a general sense of where you are with the network of cameras that are always watching.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, if you don't want to be tracked, don't have a cell phone.
Don't go out in public.
Only use cash. Don't use any credit cards. Yeah, I mean, don't go out in public because there's cameras all over the damn place. So I mean, you can just kind of live in the woods or something.
So it's the world we live in. If the government wants to track you, or if some government organization, or it's just some maybe even
random person
that has access to that stuff wants to track you, you can be tracked to pretty much like where you are, or at least the
more
vicinity.
or less. They can sit there and say, well, this person obviously is in Texas or something like that, and they can even probably go as far as San Antonio, and even probably so far as like a general area in San Antonio.
Yeah.
So especially like with your credit card and stuff like that, like you can look. And you can kind of get an idea of just where are they making transactions.
That's true. And that
obviously they're not going to draw. If you live in San Antonio, you're not going to go to Austin to make transitions often. I mean, if you do,
it'd be like once every.
Like they'll tell. I mean, like if you commute between San Antonio and Austin, like there'll be a pattern. So like they'll be able to tell. And that kind of stuff.
Like exactly. They'll be like, oh, he always buys gas at that gas station, or he purchases from that gas station, and the food places around there. But
let you may think you're special snowflake and stuff like that, but no, you are predictable.
Yeah,
that's actually been proven. Humans are pretty predictable.
Yeah,
they don't like change.
On a graph.
Yeah, you go to the same places all the time. It's comfortable. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's human. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it. That's just what I know. I do it.
Yeah,
I'm hardcore. I'm like I have a set schedule, and like I will be here usually at about this time every Monday. I do that. And so I don't have to think about anything. It just makes it easier. It's like, okay, if I just go to the same place every time, every day of the week.
One of the phrases I have is like, why leave my comfort zone? It's so comfortable.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, why risk, like, and I'm more of an introvert and antisocial pretty much.
I know. Ironically, we're sitting in front of a camera broadcasting ourselves out to a bunch of people. I guess that's
But like outside of that, I don't want to go to places I don't know of,
sure.
or if I've ever done anything awkward at one place, I'm not going there again. Like if I.
Oh, I can understand that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm completely predictable, but everyone is pretty much like you were saying. So that's
chipping. Yeah.
That's the. It just makes it easier, or they think it makes it easier.
Well, because for us, what we were kind of talking about earlier before we did the podcast was like my idea is definitely with chipping. Like where I think it would be an extremely good idea is like your medical records. I think that would be an awesome idea because then because imagine you get into a car accident or something like that.
You can,
and like if you don't have any family or anybody who's in the near vicinity that can help you.
Or if you're dying and you can't communicate and they don't know if you're allergic to whatever they need to inject you with.
Yeah.
They check that.
So you can have a chip for like your medical records or whatever, and then you can also probably put like your will on it. So then like if something happens to you, then they don't have to sit there and try to figure out
a name or some type of code in some database that has contact information or something like that. At the very least, it's just a code. So if someone else reads it, they don't know what that code is, or they can.
Yeah, I mean, it's
one step.
You'd encrypt it or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, that'd be.
But the hospitals will recognize whatever code is in there.
Sure.
Like there's some.
Like you have like a universal hospital database or whatever of patients and stuff like that. And I mean, you'd have to highly secure it and stuff like that. But
yeah, definitely.
Either that, or you just don't. You put enough information so they know the basics, and then you don't put anything like super specific on it. I mean, there are ways to do it to where it's like, okay, you have information enough that they can help you, but not too much to where it's a security threat.
Exactly. Yeah, no, definitely. And the thing is, if I was a parent and I had a kid, I think I would definitely consider doing that to my child.
See, I don't know. It depends on what all it does. You know?
Yeah. Well, no. If it was like the basic thing, like he's allergic to penicillin.
Yeah.
And
sure, like a basic medical thing. Sure.
Yeah, like maybe not contacts, because contact information or anything like that, I can see definitely why that's bad, because you can probably buy on.
All of a sudden those advertisers, because of course advertisers ruin everything. Those telemarketers.
I didn't even think of that. You had said that earlier, and I didn't even think about that.
Because it's one of those, because I mean, every once in a while I get random calls. It's like, how the hell did you get my number? You know?
Yeah, it's.
Did somebody give out my number? Did I accidentally randomly click something and all of a sudden magically my number is there?
Yeah.
But it would be worse if you had a contact number, because now they just. Because you could probably still scan the chip. I mean, you could scan the chip anyway.
Yeah, those RFID scanners are commercially available.
Yeah, you can just walk by somebody and you could scan somebody's credit card if you really wanted to.
Oh yeah,
not sanctioning it. We're not saying it's a good thing. Yeah. It is possible, and that's why they have the little metal guys are for people who are freaked out about that.
Yeah, put your credit card in that sheet.
I mean, but if that ever happens, you just go to the bank and just hey, can you guys give me a new credit card? And they go, okay.
And I mean, most credit cards these days have some type of fraud alert or detection where there's this is completely out of. I mean, they'll
look at they'll the same thing I was talking with tracking your spending habits. They'll all of a sudden say, well, why did this guy all of a sudden spend $5,000 in freaking New Mexico or something like that? It's like he's never been to New Mexico.
Mm-hmm. The red flag.
And then they'll call you and go, hey, did you go to New Mexico and spend $5,000? And you go, no. Or you go, yes, I did. Or if you did, because I mean, I've had that happen before. I'd go to maybe Austin or something like that, or Houston, and they call me saying, hey, did you spend this money? I go, yes, I did.
Usually, I've had that happen before, not in a different place, but usually around Christmas time.
Yeah.
When I'm buying gifts for family.
Yes.
Large amounts.
Yep.
At different stores at the same day.
No,
that's when I get those fraud alerts.
Yeah, I had that at Christmas when I spent $300, $400 on a Wii or whatever, or Wii U, and it immediately went, hey, did you spend this money? And I went, yes, I did.
Yes, yeah.
And that's good. I mean, I'm glad that they do that. That is actually.
I don't understand people that are annoyed by that, or if they lock your credit card and you have to make a call just to be
it takes 5 minutes. I mean, or it depends on your bank, but. And most of the time nowadays you can do it online.
It's for your safety. I'm I would hate. I appreciate it's annoying because it's a 5-minute call, but I'm not going to get angry. It's for my safety.
Sure. I mean they're doing it for your benefit. I mean it's a nice little thing that they've been doing.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So if you have that RFID and it has that contact information, and you walk by a sign that has a reader in it, now you're by a store.
Because what you could do also because what they could do is they could stick another ID chip in you, and then it could be like Amazon and stuff where it tracks what you click on. Because we've talked about this earlier, emails and stuff like that. If you get the ads from Newegg or stuff like that, it tracks it. I mean, if you ever look, it goes to a different little URL before it goes to the website, and that's one of it's sending information saying, well, this he clicked on a motherboard or RAM or something like that. So then you look, and then 2 days later, all of a sudden they'll say, well, hey, we noticed you were looking for RAM. Yeah. Here's the best deals in RAM or whatever. And I mean,
it's that and Google, Google, they maybe don't, they read your emails or something like that, or they know your search history, so they'll tailor ads specifically for that.
I mean, that's why if you ever look at websites and stuff like that, they'll have the generic banners. I've seen every once in a while on computer. I have it disabled on mine. I have ad blockers and stuff like that. But if I notice on public computers, I'll notice it'll say Amazon or Newegg, and it'll show computer parts. It's that's what I look at every once in a while, and so it'll show ads that are stuff that I've looked at before. I don't ever click them because I'm scared to death of those things.
And, you have common sense.
If I'm going to look at it, I'm going to go directly to Newegg and then look at it. I'll go, okay, let me not click that random link that's on this website. Let me go to Google and go through there.
Yeah, people don't do that.
Don't ever click those little ads.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless you're on a computer of a person that you hate. Don't click on ads.
At least not on a Windows computer. Macs, you can kind of get away with it a little bit more. Linux computers, there's really no viruses on those. They're not programmed for Unix, so you're usually pretty good to go. But I still wouldn't click them anyway.
Yeah,
it's just good computer practice.
Yeah, computer. Yeah, definitely. Don't do that. But yeah, microchipping. If there's security things involved, and maybe not first generation or second generation, and they get better security or something, maybe a different type of, maybe not RFID because it's a bit too commercially available.
Yeah, whatever they come up with. I mean, whatever new chip it is,
and it's safe or reasonably safe, and because if people want to do something, people can figure out how to do.
Even if they do security and all that good stuff, they say only the specific device can do it, and of course we'll only sell it to, licensed doctors or whatever. Bad people are still going to get handled. No matter what, unfortunately, that's just the way the world works. No matter how
if there's money to be made,
bad people will find a way.
Exactly.
It always happens, and it's human nature. I mean, you have to accept that. I mean, no matter how safe you make something, somebody will find a way to make it not safe.
Exactly. Yeah, and the thing with microchipping, I think I can't think of a future where that's not common.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it will happen.
It's going to happen.
I can totally see it happening.
Maybe not soon, or maybe not with this current technology, or probably not with this current technology. I think it's just going to be commonplace. Either because humans, recently we always want to find the easier way to do things.
Sure.
If you have a thing in your hand that you can wave in front of your front door, and it's safe and secure, and it unlocks your door, and it sets your house.
Like a hand scanner or whatever. Like you just wave your hand in front of it, or it scans your face, and then it opens the door.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that I think we're starting to get close to. I mean, like you look at like car doors and stuff like that. Like they've got the little, like you just have the little like
smart key.
Yeah, smart key. You just have it in your pocket, and you just press the button, and it opens. So I mean, we're getting closer and closer to it.
Yeah, and that's just a couple steps away of having an actual implanted thing that has your whatever codes or whatever, and it just you wave your hand in front of your phone, it unlocks it, or that's pretty simple. It's just a swipe now anyway, but like you wipe your hand in front of a computer. And
I think the idea of you try to buy something on your phone, and then you just stick your thumb up to the camera or whatever, and it'll say, okay, that's you. I will, do you want to do this transaction? You say yes, and like it'd be like the idea of like passwords. You could then be like, okay, well, my pinky finger is so-and-so passwords, my middle finger is other passwords, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like you could do that. I mean, that'd be pretty nifty.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a very, I think that'll hapen. And it's already starting to happen. Yeah. I mean, there's little bits of it. It's going that way.
There's a person who's kind of like, I was doing a little bit of research before the episode. There's a guy, I can't think of his name. It's like Amal Grafstad, or probably pronounced differently or completely different. He's like an RFID hobbyist.
Okay.
And he's like whenever if you type in that, it comes up with his name. He's done TED Talks.
Okay.
Like seminars about it, and he actually has implanted RFID chips that he controls his house with.
Okay.
And he's done talks. I didn't watch the talk. I just saw it. But he's a big proponent of the microchipping, and for ease of access for technology. And
at the rate we're going, though, if we do more stuff like that, I mean, it's gonna start turning it like unfortunately, like if for all of you have seen WALL-E,
yes.
I'm more and more as we keep going, I'm starting to envision that's gonna happen.
And it's true.
And for those of you
self-driving,
for those of you who've never seen WALL-E, I mean, it's a little robot or whatever. But when they finally introduced the humans, essentially what happened to the humans is they've just been like automation. Like they let the robots do like everything.
Yeah.
And so they go around on like little hover carts and stuff like that, and they're like the size of like an elephant.
Yeah.
They're like really.
And they're just glued on a screen that's in front of them. No idea what's happened of their surroundings.
Yeah. So they're just going around and. Everything does everything for them. So I mean, they're just sitting in the little hover cars or whatever, and it drives them, and they're or like at like the spa or whatever, and it's everything's. They're just sitting there watching their little screen.
Yeah.
And so I mean, hell, when you look at it, we sit there and stare at our cell phones. Like I look around. I mean, I'm luckily one who's not too addicted to my phone. I'm addicted to my computer screen. I mean, I do that.
Yeah.
But I don't go around and sit around on my cell phone all the time.
I do see that. The danger with the ease of technology is eventually, if it keeps going without any change, it will get to that, or it'll get to
at some point.
Maybe
probably.
not that, but something like
something
that.
Similar.
Just where humans just become atrophied and they don't do anything because technology, because of the inventions.
We built everything to do it for us. So what's the point of us doing it?
That's the same kind of concept of Idiocracy. They built all these machines that do everything for them, and they're just dumb. People have lost so much intelligence that it's just ridiculous. Everyone's stupid, and it's all corporate and all. Idiocracy is another good movie. Has Owen Wilson in it, Maya Rudolph. But
I think I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's one of those silly comedies, but it has a pretty good message. Yeah. Like the thing is, like, the smart people didn't have babies because they made all these excuses. So like the capacity for intelligence over time got less, and like dumb people bred like rabbits.
Oh geez, so that sounds familiar. No,
because they didn't care about the consequences.
No offense, I know I'm making a bad joke there.
I guess if you know Fisher recently and you had a child,
please don't punch me in the gut. I mean, or if you do, please just do it once and be done with it.
But yeah, so that was the concept of it, and then over time, people just got stupider, and it's a good movie. It's funny. I'll put a link to it or a trailer of it or something. But yeah, I agree. With the just waving your hand and not having to do things, and like now like augmented reality and virtual reality.
Sure.
That's
because when you look at it, if you keep automating stuff, it's like what is there going to be left for us to do? I mean, because like you look at it now, technology is starting to take over a lot of jobs and stuff like that. Because you're like, I don't need a human to do it. I just have the freaking robot do it or the computer do it.
Yeah, and I just saw a video of a surgical robot sewing up a grape, like the grape, and they like cut off like a sliver of the skin, and it was sewing up the grape like crazy precise. Like, and they had like these little tweezer hands. Like, just they have to be small because
I mean, you just make a little teeny tiny robot. I mean, and when you think of it, hell, that to a certain extent, I mean, for certain applications, that may actually be better than human. Because you say sewing up a grape, see human friggin' sew that. You know?
I mean, surgeons probably can do it.
Yeah, I mean, they probably it probably
like a percentage, like the top percentage of
surgeons. It probably takes them a lot more longer than a little robot could do. A little robot would probably just go done.
And it has the video. I'll see if I can find I'm sure I can find the video of it. I'll put that on there. But yeah,
that's interesting.
It's like you sewing up a grape. It's great. Like sewing the skin back on a grape.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you'd want to do that. I mean, I guess that's for showing purposes.
It was just a demonstration of the technology. Where are we at?
4:20.
Okay, yeah. So pretty. Let's see, we're going on about 50 minutes.
So I guess just a little bit longer, and then from there.
So I think that's just the first step, and I do see the problems with it, but like with like robotic or like
I guess what we were talking earlier, like human augmentation.
Yeah.
Like very sci-fi heavy stuff. Where like what I'm talking about is like robot arms, robot legs. Like I guess what cyborgs is that the humans that are
cybernetic or cyborgs are cybernetic organisms. That's what cyborg stands for. So
then android. I always get confused. This is always really confusing. Which one is which? Because there's like 400 different names for human/robot.
Yeah,
things.
Cyborg is pretty much that. It's the blending of electronics and organic material.
Yeah.
So yeah, cyborg.
Cyborg and android.
Android, I think it's interchangeable.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that
android. I think is a robot that has.
People will argue. They're very specific definitions. I, for the life of me, cannot remember. I know one is like a robot that's built to look like a human, and the other one is a human with like robot components.
I know. I go back to Star Trek. Like Data was an android.
Yeah.
And he's a robot, but he was programmed with like artificial intelligence or something like, and a human.
Okay, exterior. so android must be the robot that looks like a human, and then I think cyborg is the human with like robot parts. Like more of like a living robot, I guess.
That's probably close, or that fits some definitions. But
like, if I'm wrong, you guys can nerd rage at me all you want. I, for the life of me, do not remember the exact definition. Yeah. Sorry, I can't know every single thing.
Whatever the term is for the person with robotic implants or robotic limbs or something.
Yeah, I guess like human augmentation is what we'll go with. Yeah. I mean that's kind of like it's like in video games like Deus Ex. That was a big thing. I still need to play that game. I've had it in my backlog for a while, and it's been on the top. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
But the idea is like you augment. You know, like your arm now is more stronger. Robotic. It's stronger. It can shoot rockets. You know, that kind of stuff. Like you know, like they have like the eye patch or whatever that can see stuff. Like one of my favorite things, like human augmentation, was always like a Metal Gear Solid. They had the idea of like you could stick a radio in your jawbone.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which is, you know, in one hand that sounds freaking awesome. On the other hand, that sounds scary as hell, because then all of a sudden when you just get somebody's random call in your jaw, you're like, shit, I can't stop listening to it because it's in my jawbone.
Yeah, but that's cool. That's having your cell phone.
See, which sounds awesome. You know, it's one of those of. Are we eventually going to see that? Well, yeah. I mean, actually, technically, we already have that technology. Yeah, that actually is around. Like you look at it, and they are building, like for like paraplegics and stuff like that. They've got like the robotic legs.
I'm trying to think prosthetics.
Prosthetics, yes. They have like the robotic
extremely complicated, complex, realistic prosthetics.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's one of those up there. Like, you know, I think they've actually played around with the idea of having like battle suits almost, like where it's supposed to increase, you know,
like exoskeletons.
Like exoskeletons, yes, exactly.
They do. In Japan, there's a company that's doing that. I don't know if it's in use, but they based that movie Elysium.
Yeah.
Elysium. They had exosuits, and also Edge of Tomorrow. They had exosuits with Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, and he goes back and he keeps living the same loop.
Yeah.
They have exosuits in that, and there's a company that actually does that, and it has so people like in factories can now lift crazy amounts of weight.
Sure, because you control it, but it does the powerlifting, which is cool. I think that's a really cool idea. I mean, you know, of course you're gonna have people who are gonna want to weaponize it. So I mean.
Well, yeah.
See, now, if we see friggin' Gundams, I'm like, done. If I get killed by a Gundam, I'm like, done, fine, awesome. At least I got killed by a friggin' Gundam. Yeah, that's cool. I'm like, all right.
Make sure that's on my gravestone.
I'm set. Yeah, I'd be like, I got killed by a fucking Gundam. Yes. You know, I'm like, at least, you know, I'm like, if I'm gonna die, I'd prefer to die by like a Gundam or something like that. That'd be awesome. You're like, all right, great. You know. Big giant robot, you're like, okay.
Or that's at least a cool.
I'm sad that I'm about to die, but at least
it's a cool legacy. Like your family now, be like, oh, did you know? Remember your uncle? He died by a Gundam. A huge robot killed him.
You're like, what? So you're like, how did I not hear about the freaking Gundam? You mean they exist?
That would be crazy. Yeah.
Like, I know they existed.
But yeah, I think the blending of robotics in life or implants or things like that into life is going to become more and more common.
See, I think that's going to be kind of the next big thing, you know, like after we get over like the automatic driving cars, I think that's going to start being the next big, you know, like that, and then like the stem cell research and stuff like that. Once we really, if research continues with that, I kind of see like the idea of like mutants almost. Well, or not necessarily mutants, but you'll have the idea. I think with stem cells, we'll get the idea of. Like, definitely, like, they've already kind of even started already, but, like, regrowing body parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's...
I mean, and that's actually, they've done it. They have actually regrown...
Like, 3D printing body parts.
Yeah, so, I mean, so that's totally something that I can see. I think that and human augmentation are going to be the two, probably within, like, the next 5-10 years, going to be the big... things that are going to start popping up.
We're going to keep hearing more
and that's going to be the big. There's going to be a lot of debate on it because it's. You know,
I can already see
that and robotics are going to be probably the next three big things. I mean, like if sci-fi is anything to believe.
I can already see things like that happen, like with prosthetics.
Yeah.
In sports being a big controversy.
Sure.
Like the right now how the steroids are.
Well, because actually with sports, I don't remember which athlete it was, but they argued that. They were arguing that one guy who was missing a leg and he had like one of like the spring legs or whatever. Yeah. They argued that he was actually at an advantage, and you're like, wait, he's missing a leg.
Yeah, he's physically handicapped, but he's at an advantage. Huh?
You're like, wait, he's missing a leg. I mean, you know, I guess the ideas are like, well, the spring applies more force than the leg. I don't know, does it? I mean, well, have we done the science to figure out? Does it? You know, because even so, it's like, you know. When you think about it, even if it does apply more force, he's got one leg that applies more force and one leg that doesn't.
Yeah.
So either way,
some compensation that accounts for it, maybe.
You would think that would still make it a lot more challenging to run anyway.
Like, I know he's been kind of, I mean, he like murdered his girlfriend or something, but Oscar Pistorius, I don't know.
Oh, you're talking a different person.
Yeah, no, yeah, not that guy. But Oscar Pistorius, he ran. I'm not into sports, but I kind of remember he ran in the Olympics with the other people, and he had both legs. He's a W.
You know, maybe that may have been the guy. I can't remember if it was just one leg or if it was both legs, but
I think Pistorius had both legs. Man, I'm so bad at this. But,
I know. Hey,
but he ran against.
That's off of memory, guys. So.
I don't want to say normal people, but he ran against people that didn't have prosthetics, like a regular race, and he didn't win, but he completed. He was the first of his first person like that to compete so it was a big story. He's a big hero. Bad things happened later with his girlfriend or whatever happened with that. I'm not sure, but like that, like if prosthetics get so good that they're better than human legs, we'll get to a point where that's a big controversy, or we'll have athletes that like amputate their legs voluntarily to get the new things.
Yeah,
like
who knows? And that's where that'll be a huge up for debate thing. I mean, look at robot technology now and stuff like that. I remember years ago seeing that like the military, what they were developing was basically it was like a walking platform almost, and the idea was for carrying weapons and munitions and all that kind of stuff. Like the idea was it was supposed to be designed to carry stuff, and it was basically just kind of like a square robot thing with like 4 legs. It was a quadruped.
Okay.
And it was really cool because like they showed like some guy like shoving it.
I think
it just kind of leaned and stayed balanced. It was really cool. I mean, it just walked along. I mean, you're like, wow, that was really cool.
I've seen. I don't know if it's the same thing because I didn't know if it was a platform or not. But they showed like a walking, running robot that had that stabilization.
Almost looked like a tiger looking thing. Yeah, I remember. I think I saw that one too. But unfortunately, the thing was like it had like I don't know, like a go-kart engine, so it was stupidly loud. But it was really cool. I mean, they had like a little one, and it'd run too. I mean, it'd go like I think like 30 miles an hour or something like that.
Yeah,
that stupid thing running
and
real
crazy
quick.
terrain and everything.
So I mean, so definitely, I'm seeing robots. I definitely. It's not. It's one of those. It's scary because you're like the stuff in all these video games and sci-fi in general and stuff like that. You're like, this stuff is coming to life. I mean, you're like, it's crazy how close, and you look at it and you're like, these games are from like, 5-10 years ago when we were just barely even thinking about it. And you're like, now it's starting to become kind of real.
Yeah, like the greatest mind in like sci-fi writing history, every time they thought of like advanced technology, it's always been like bad for humans. Yeah. And now we're like getting to that point where that stuff is like.
Well, now we're like, we gotta look back. It's like, do we need to actually, do we need to do these laws or whatever?
And it's like the laws of robotics. Yeah, and the thing is, I'm all for technology. I love technology. I think it's so awesome, like what's happening. Yeah. But it's scary.
Yeah, like I mean, definitely. Because, I mean, unfortunately, with human nature, somebody's going to want to weaponize it. I mean, why? I don't understand why we have to weaponize everything, but somebody's going to do it.
Or it could go like the Terminator route, where they weaponize themselves or something like that.
So, I mean, if we're not careful,
I think we're far off from artificial intelligence. I think. I don't know. Maybe some secret government organization.
They do have...
I know there's like one notch below artificial intelligence.
They are working on like computer learning and stuff like that. That is something that exists, but that's not necessarily artificial intelligence. The idea of that is it gathers data over time and then it does stuff with the data.
like the Jeopardy robot. That's not what they called it, but the Jeopardy robot where it essentially was smart because it learned from the internet or something.
Like you just go and you just get random facts and then you categorize it based on, an algorithm or something like that. But like the idea of like speech recognition and stuff like that. Like they've got it now where it'll say, okay, maybe you may log in as a user or whatever, and then it'll track patterns in your voice. And then after a while, after it gets enough data, it'll start to just recognize without having you need to log in. And it'll say, okay, well, this has a certain voice pattern or it follows a similar pattern to what I already have in my database. So therefore, I believe it's this person.
Yeah.
And that's something that they've been working on, is like the speech recognition and stuff like that. So I mean, that's kind of the idea of it learns.
Yeah, and I guess we'll kind of wrap it up, but a movie I just saw, Ex Machina.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet.
It deals kind of with this. The plot is the person, this really smart, like Bill Gates type character, or like Mark Zuckerberg type character, a really smart programmer, and he's rich and a billionaire, and he's real secretive, builds a robot, and he gets a person to administer a Turing test to the robot to test if it's artificially intelligent. And it's like a psychological sci-fi thriller. Yeah. It's talking about that, like an artificial intelligence, like being so much smarter, and he added like ways for it to like manipulate humans to get what it wants. Yeah. And things like that. So it's kind of crazy. I recommend it. Not for kids though. It's a gorgeous robotic woman, so there's things that you probably don't want children to go see about it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
get where he's coming from.
Don't want to go into nice
sex bot. Nice, there we go. We'll just say sex bot.
There you go. Yeah. So there's things of that nature.
Yeah, they told me about it earlier. I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah. So adults only, but it's a really good.
Or just don't tell your parents you're going to see it if you're young.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's probably R. It's definitely.
If you do see it and your parents catch you, we did not tell you to go see it. So
no,
don't try to blame us.
Don't blame us. But yeah, I'd say see that, and any of the other stuff that I've mentioned. I'll try to make a list on the episode. Anything you've seen recently or watched recently?
No, unfortunately, I was finishing up finals last week, so I was concentrating on that. So now I'm just kind of in. That I'm done for like 2.5 months.
That now, weight's been lifted.
Now to figure out what the hell to do. So I'm really close to finally getting my computer. I know I've been dragging my feet on that, but I didn't want to let that interfere with finals. So I wanted to wait till after finals to start doing that. Yeah. So pretty soon here, within a week or two, I plan to start getting parts. I think I have a good idea of what I want. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's getting there. So once we do that, then I'll have some time.
You'll see a lot more of us playing around.
Yeah, because me and Jimmy we'll go get some footage or something like that, or we may include Patrick if he has time. But we'll just do like maybe a quick random video. I'll toss it on there. I'll mess around with some color correction. Just kind of start to. It's been a while since I've done any hardcore editing, because I just haven't had a machine that could handle what I wanted to do. And so once I get the new computer, I'll be able to play around a little bit more and finally start to really learn how to do some more advanced stuff, and then we'll see what we can come up with.
Yeah, we have a bunch of ideas, and to get them to fruition, we'll need that kind of hardware. So we'll play around with it. So be on the lookout. We'll probably at the end of every episode talk about how closer we are to it.
We'll keep bringing it up and probably not have any progress for a while. I mean, it's
a slow process.
We're humans. I mean, we've unfortunately we work a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. Just now I finally came across a bunch of free time, so I'll be looking for something to do with that free time. Yeah.
So definitely be sure to stay up to date with everything about the podcast or about Thinking Outside the Pod. The way to do that, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We'll definitely plan on doing more with the YouTube channel. I mean, it's been kind of just going.
It's just been. I've been eking out
because we'll probably do a lot more smaller stuff since we that'll be something we can do. We can just kind of do on our own or whatever. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be doing that. Be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, every Monday we'll be putting out a new podcast. Tell your friends about it. Tell your enemies. Tell everybody. Tell strangers.
Tell your dog too. I don't know. Your dog may want to listen.
Yeah, if they're chipped, just tell them. Sure. It increases their intelligence.
Put our podcast in your dog's chip.
Yeah. So like anyone that scans
it
just starts
like,
playing.
What the hell is this? And it's like, oh hey, there we go. That'd be awesome.
Definitely do that. So that's pretty much it. That's episode 63 of Thinking Outside the Pod. We'll be back next Monday with the new episode.
All right, later guys.